Hi, I'm Jo Bingham and this is my art channel focusing primarily on the hows, the whys of drawing and painting, with probably a particular focus on animals because that's what I mainly do. So firstly, a huge thank you for everyone that has either watched the video or has subscribed to my channel. I am so grateful. This video is going to be a follow-on from the eye, so we're going to be focusing on the form of that upper head. So it's quite it's probably the trickiest bit of painting a horse, because you have to do all in one go, you have to work in layers, and you have to try and sort of get very subtle changes of colour. With watercolour is quite difficult. But anyway, we'll see how we go, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to get ready to go. So we have all of our colours ready. I'm using Daniel Smith's Art Spectrum and a little bit of Winsor & Newton. So I use a lot of different brands, but I use all professional watercolours. So the shades that we're going to be using are Burnt Sienna, Lamp Black, a bit of Van Dyke Brown, and some brown iron oxide. Brushes I'm going to be using are the Princeton rounds and a Princeton flat brush, just to get my original water on. And I'm using a heavyweight cold press paper. So let's get to it. So my first layer is just a very watery mix, and it's the brown oxide and lamp black. So you need to give yourself it gives you sort of breathing space, the ability to start pushing the colours around on the head. So once you've done that, it's pretty quick. We then start looking at what colours, and we always start with the dark colours, which I know is strange with watercolour because you normally work from light to dark, but because I'm actually focusing on form, so I need to first work out where my tones are and get those in. So I'm going to be using the brown oxide and the lamp black, and I'm going into I use tube paints because I find them a lot easier when I'm working big. So I'm going into the lumps of paint, not the water. Once I've put my first layer on, I now want to sort of really focus on getting some tone in, getting my darks in, working out where the darks are. So it gives me, the basis, then I can start doing the hair-like effect. So for those that, just if you want to have a look at the image that I'm working from, as I said in my very first video, this is a photo taken by Karen Wright of Right Stride Equestrian. And so I'm just trying to, you can see how quickly it's drying, just trying to get some layers on first. So I'm now going into a little bit of the burnt sienna as well, because down down here, it almost goes into a brownie, a reddish brown tinge. So we really want to get that cheekbone. It's the start of the cheekbone, so we want to start getting some darks in there. And we want that line there, that one there, we want to be really soft, which is why you start off with a lot of water, because you want to keep those nice soft edges. There are no hard edges. If you look at, the head of the horse, there are no hard edges apart from around the eye. So you can see what I said about working fast. You need to, make sure that you've drunk your coffee and you've got everything available to you. Set up your workspace so that everything is close by, so that you don't have to keep stretching over or going and finding things or realizing that you've run out of a particular color that you really, really need. So can you see that I've wet that area there? Okay, I've lost that line a little bit, so I'm going to dry my number 4 brush off and just bring my brush down there to re-establish that line. And then put some, and then I'm going to go back into sort of the mixture of the burnt sienna and the black, and just put some more colour in there, because it does dry lighter, so you really do have to put your dark colours on there. Okay, around the eye, and now I'm going to bring my colours up here. So when I finish this video, it's probably still not going to be the final layer, because the final layer will be going and tweaking and putting all the little fine lines around the eye, making sure that the eye is set accurately and looks natural. Okay, then we're going to work above the eye. More colouring around there, and then it's quite dark up here. So what I try and sort of every time I go back to my palette, I try and just choose a slightly different colour, mix, so that you know you've always got interest going on. Okay, so can you see even at that point, it's getting there, it's darkening up. So now I can really start thinking, okay, so now I can start finalising, if you like, working on those colours and thinking, okay, well, we're nearly there. So I'm just really using black for this bit. Okay, it's getting a bit dry, so we'll put a bit more water on there. And then you just have to keep blending it. So what I'm doing is I'm going into my palette, I'm getting some paint on my brush, and then I'm wiping it off on a piece of kitchen towel, because it's really important not to flood water on here, because it's very delicate. Watercolour paper is kind of forgiving, but it's not that forgiving. You have to be really careful what you're doing. But I tell you what, once you've mastered a few tricks and tips in watercolour, it is the most wonderful medium to work in. So now at the top I can start, you can just see, you can't see the actual fur, but you can see the direction of the fur. So you can start putting your, oops, that's the tricky bit. You have to make sure that you don't put your hand in what you've already painted. Okay, we'll just put a little bit more at the top, and then we'll probably finish up for today. So I'm just using very fine. So it's like it's a mid-strength paint. So it's not too watery and it's not too thick. But I know that when that dries, it's going to start looking like fur. It's going to go in the direction of the fur. Okay, I'll just see if I can blend that in a little bit. We'll do a little bit under the eye or under here, and then that'll be it for today. And I hope that you can just see how it is beginning to build up, and appreciate that, you know, when you have a very complex surface that you're trying to paint in watercolour, that it does take layers. A lot of people think, oh, you know, they put their first layer on and that's it. But it takes layers. Okay, I think we'll finish there today, and I really hope that you're beginning to understand how, how these complex images start to come together. And I'll hopefully, before the next video, I'll have done a little bit more work and you can see what I've done. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video. And happy painting. I hope you have a great week. Thank you very much.